Well, regular season in the books. Now we move on to the playoffs here in the OB Builders Cup Series. Tonight, here on V-Speed, we bring you the Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine 250 Run for the Jug. Glad to have that crazy sponsor here tonight, and going to be a crazy race to go along with it. Man, playoffs now getting started, and what a better place to start it at the, I don't know, super speedway of Atlanta. It's sort of in between. It puts on some really great racing. I think it's a good product here on iRacing. I think we're going to have a great show here tonight. A little bit cramped out there if you're claustrophobic. It's not Talladega, it's not Daytona, but it definitely adds a different challenge than what these guys are used to. So we'll see if these guys can, who's going to punch their ticket into the playoffs. Look who we got here tonight. We got Johnny Shea, we got Randy Mullins, Barry Sanders, Tim Mortman Jr., Jeff Taylor, Nigel Christensen, Kenny, and Brandon Bikey there on cams tonight. Glad to have those. Qualifying is underway. And regular season in the books. Well, it's time to talk about playoffs. Let's take a look at the schedule. You see you're at the top round of 16. So 3 races to figure out who's going to move into the round of 12. We'll drop 4 drivers out. Who's going to be an interesting round for sure. Atlanta is sort of a super speedway type race. Watkins Glen, a road course, and then Bristol, the best short track in the world, to move on to round 12. So this is the toughest round. If you have championship hopes, you could all see them go down the drain pretty quickly. Let's take a look at our regular season champ, and let's watch this quick video and about Randy Mullins, your regular season champ. Well, Randy Mullins was your regular season champion, so he will get those extra bonus points going into the playoffs. And who's going to be your playoff drivers? Well, let's find out right here. Well, there is your playoff field for the round of 16. And tonight, one of them is going to look to move on to the round of 12 by taking the victory here at Atlanta. And it's going to take a lot of work. Teamwork going to be one of them. And you're going to have to work together with your team, hit at the right time if we have green flag stops, and just completely miss any wrecks. I mean, you're going to have to stay clean for a majority of the race. And, man, I'll tell you what, Atlanta is just unique in the way that you race. You have to be careful about the tire wear. These cars can get loose, especially with these open setups. And so we'll see who comes across and wins. But let's see who's going to start on the front row here tonight. And it's going to be regular season champion Randy Mullins going to start there on the top spot. And last week's winner, Kenny Coppola, comes home in second. Starting third, going to be Matt Cox. Alex Coffey in the fourth position. In fifth, it's going to be Paul Gallimore with Brandon Viking. In seventh, going to be Tim Wortman Jr. With eighth, it's going to be Nick King. Ninth, Chris Davis with Matt Mackin round out top 10. 11th, going to be Barry Sanders, Jamison Middlemiss there in 12th. 13th, Justin Belmont with Brandon Fetterplace in 14th. 15th, Shane Davis with Ryan Huff in 16th. 17th, Johnny Shade and Jeff Carson in 18th. 19th, going to be Jeffrey Taylor along with Caden Orfrey in that 20th position. 21st is Hunter Carmichael with Jordan Schmeeks, a couple playoff drivers deep in the field. 23rd, Blaine Wilson and Aaron Matthews. 25th, 26th is Warren Young and Nigel Christensen, two drivers electing not to take a qualifying time. 27th, Ed Bowles Jr. with Nicholas Atwood in 28th. And then round out your field, it's going to be Jared Clark and the 89 Toyota Camry of Matt Metler. Well, man, what can you say about this particular racetrack? It's been changed. I mean, one of the best tracks that was on the surface or service and in real life, I feel like, and they've completely redesigned it. They felt like the amount of people buying tickets was pretty low, and they wanted to do something to change it up. And so here they are, changing it up, and gonna have a Super Speedway race now, and it's been exciting. I have to say, it's not really it's been exciting even with the repave. I think I was pretty down on it, and it's definitely changed a lot, but it still puts on exciting finishes, those Atlanta finishes that we've come to know. Man, just incredible racing. You're gonna see it tonight. You know, it's a lot about handling. You're gonna really think about that. You're gonna focus on trying to make sure that you're able to get the pushes, the draft, all that kind of stuff, but also you're gonna have to be careful with the handling. Don't want to get your tires too out of shape. You're gonna take 4 tires on some of these pit stops. Let's take a look at your race analysis. 163 laps, pit road speed 45 miles an hour. They have 6 total sets here tonight. 1 green white checkered attempt. Fuel run is somewhere between 60 and 65 laps, just depending on how much you save, and stages at lap 40. That's going to be very, very important to get those stage points and help move you on into the next round. All right, getting ready for the green flag. Randy Mullins, Kenny Coppola going to lead you down to green, as we've got 163 laps to settle it here in Atlanta. Who's going to take home the victory? We're going to find out here. They come off a turn 4 pace car, going to pull off. Oh, he's going to go around one more time. So it looks like they're going to give us a little bit of extra time. That's good. I try to time it exactly when they go green, and now I got a little extra time to talk about something I want to talk about. And, you know, these races are all about teamwork. The difference in this versus Daytona Talladega is really the fact that it's so narrow comparatively. The third line can work, but it's so tough to do with the way the handling. The turns are tighter. Daytona is 2.5 miles. Talladega is 2.66 miles. This is 1.54 miles. So Atlanta is a little bit different. Now the banking went from 24 degrees in the turns to 28 degrees. That's where that extra speed comes from. That sort of super speedway-esque type racing is coming from, just the extra banking. But it does allow for pushing, shoving, a big draft pack. But you have to be careful. You don't want to lose the draft here. You want to maintain some tire wear, and you got to make moves on your own. It's really hard to get hooked up with somebody and make moves. You're going to have to either start up front, or you're going to have to take those lanes when they open up. When they open up, you better jump down. If you see a lane moving, you got to jump down, get moving, try to get back up in that upper lane. You'll see some separation because of that aforementioned tire wear and handling. So all really important things I think there is a little extra skill that comes into this particular style racing. This time, though, the pace car does pull off, and we're going to get ready to go racing here. Barney, green flag in hand into the Geico restart zone. He's waving the green flag. Green flag is out here in the Crazy Chucks Moonshine, Purple Jesus Moonshine 250. I did not nail that at all. But the winner does get a jar of that moonshine. So really, really cool deal there. And you can actually the 15 of Alex Coffey with that livery on his car. And look at that big shove there on the top line as the inside line gets away a little bit. And you can see the next gen car just has a very unique drafting style that kind of keeps everybody together. But if you get too far out, it is like a parachute comes out. And Kenny Coppola with that push from the 15 of Alex Coffey is going to lead the first lap. We'll see if they drop down here, and Kenny kind of thinking about it. Stays up there with that outside line. We'll see if Alex Coffey dives down to the inside. He does not. Going to stay there, give Kenny a shove as they go down the back straight into 3 and 4, and then he's going to dive up to the outside with no help as Brandon Mikey goes right down behind his teammate, and now Alex Coffey is going to have an issue as he's going to fall back here without any kind of help on that outside line. You can see that separation that I was talking about. That inside line is going to be pretty stout, especially as handling starts to go away. The tires start to wear out. Let's take a look at the weather right now. 111 degrees track temp. It's not extremely toasty, but it is warmer than maybe you would like. And so the handling is going to be a problem. So we'll see who's able to stay on top of that, who got prepared, built a stable setup, or who focused on speed and is going to live on the edge. We're going to find out all of that here on V-Speed. So far, so good. You see Bikey, Kenny Coppola, and Nick King all in a line. Single file here for the first 5 drivers. And then you have to go all the way back between Barry Sanders and Jamison Middlemiss before you see some side-by-side racing. So that outside line has completely died as everybody abandoned it. Coffey going to dive in that 8th position. So all single file at the moment, and that's what you can kind of expect. I do feel pretty confident about that. Is everybody going to be trying to save fuel here, 60 to 65 laps. That first stage at lap 40, so they're not going to be saving in this stage. So I think you're just kind of hanging out, trying to do the best that you can. But, you know, until a line is able to form on that outside, you're not really going to see much action out there. You see Alex Coffey trying to do something, doesn't want to check up like everybody, but you can see in the corner, you see that space between Paul Gallimore and Tim Wortman Jr. and then right in front of Paul Gallimore. That's what this track does. The handling is so different with these tighter turns that you're not able to get to someone's bumper and stay very long, especially a few rows back. So it takes a long time for that outside line to really gain any momentum. And it's hard to keep it. It's so tough to do that here with everybody being so spread out. But you see that inside line kind of breaking apart a little bit, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But you can see the outside line now with Alex Coffey starting to form. You can see they're pretty much nose to tail, and Alex Coffey bails on it almost immediately. Going to try to go down and get a draft off the 74, Chris Davis, and they're going to try to continue. But that kind of broke up that outside line almost immediately. Speaking of Chris Davis, he jumps up there, says, I want to be a part of this. And, you know, that's kind of, it's important because once that outside line does get going, you have to be careful. Because if you're up here at the front like Kenny Coppola is, once that outside line gets up there to that front, you know, the front 2 or 3 rows, they'll start dropping down in front. You can find yourself going from first all the way back to 7th or so if you're not careful. So these guys are going to have to move around, take advantage of those lines as they start to push up there. You can see, I think that's Randy Mullins actually gets up in front of Chris Davis. And there they go. Big run as Nick King going to pull up there in that number 12 machine and block that outside line. So it's going to kind of stall that line out for a moment. But they were rolling there as now they have numbers. And here comes Nick King up side by side with Kenny Coppola trying to take the lead from the outside. Got a big push coming from the 54 to go down in turn 1. Now the outside line is definitely in order. Now Brandon Bikey goes to the back bumper of Coppola, says, hey, we need to continue to run and control this race up front. And so desperately trying to push that 77 and keep that 12 of Nick King from jumping down in front of him. And right now doing a great job of that. But that outside line will pick up some steam as the tires start to wear. That inside line makes it even more difficult to hold it down as the car is going to get a little bit tight. Nick King now clear here on lap 11. Will he drop down or will he stay with Randy Mullins? And so far it looks like he's going to stay on that outside line. One of the neatest sponsors that we've had so far this season. We've had a lot of folks sponsoring these races, but I do like the get up here, the tie-dye feel, the Crazy Chucks Purple Jesus Moonshine 250. It's a mouthful, and I definitely failed the first attempt, but really cool that the winner is going to get a jug of this, and I'm a little jealous. I kind of want to know what this thing tastes like. And it looks like Charles Kitchen, excuse me, is it must be Crazy Chuck. So good to have you, Charles, in chat, and thank you for sponsoring this race. And it's really cool to see new sponsors, new folks coming out, want their brand out here. They know what kind of racing Moonshiners puts on. They know that a lot of eyeballs are here, so great opportunity to get that brand out there for sure. Side by side racing up front though for Nick King as he continues to kind of surge ahead on the front straightaway as we go on board with Brandon Bikey as he continues to try to hold this position. You can see just not able to push in the middle of the corner like what we see at Talladega. Talladega, you can push all the way around, but here at Atlanta, you have to be a little bit more tactical about how you do those pushes. You can see the parachute of Kenny Coppola as he gets out too far ahead. That big spoiler punches such a big hole in the air. Once somebody gets up under it, I mean, you get a huge draft, but you can actually lose a draft in these cars if you're not careful. Just the way the draft is, it just doesn't. The wake is right behind the car, and then it falls off quickly. So it is a very interesting drafting model. As you can see, the side-by-side action here from inside of Brandon Bikey. He gives a big shove to Kenny Coppola. It got real loose. But all drivers still running. Ed Bowles Jr. is actually on pit road, so I have to take that back. He has had some sort of issue and is on pit road. No fast repair. So you don't have a free, car if something goes wrong. So right now, I think we're seeing some pretty solid pushes, sort of taking it easy here. Don't want to get too crazy here. Long way to go. But as we move on through this race, I'm telling you, it's only going to get crazier and crazier, especially up front. The pushes are going to get more wild. We've seen at the end of these stages how important stage points are. And these guys have made some wild moves to get them. So we'll see as we closing into halfway through this stage. And so far it is Nick King controlling the outside line and Kenny Coppola controlling the bottom. And that's how important it is. I mean, Randy Mullins was really pushing. They were going to get up to the front. Nick King jumps out in front. Now he gets to control that line. And that is so important. So Nick doing a great job. Kenny Coppola, though, able to get clear. Will he work both lines, or will he kind of stay with his teammate on the bottom? Looks like he's going to continue to stay down there. And being the leader of any line, whether it's the top or the bottom, is the best place to be, except for on the last lap. But so far, so good. Big movers. Jordan Schmeets, one of your playoff drivers, sitting in the ninth position, started in 20 seconds, taking advantage. Now, early on, you could really make moves, move up through the field, make passes, kind of move in and out of lanes. But right now, look at just nowhere to go. If you're Jordan Speeds, where are you going to go here? You're going to go 3 wide on lap 19? Are you going to push? You know, you can't go any faster than what the 83 is doing right now. You can't jump up in that outside line with the outside sort of kind of put together now. So there's nowhere to go. He's going to have to just chill right here, but he has made up a ton of spots. And now is in a pretty good position. He's in the points here in the top 10. As we move over into lap 21, other drivers that have moved up through the field, Jeffrey Taylor. And that number 9 machine, Savannah Bananas, is that what that is? I barely got a shot of that, but I want to say that's what it is. Yeah, I believe it is. Really, if you never checked them out on social media, that is a fun group. I don't even know what it is. I don't know if they're a minor league. Somebody in chat could definitely tell me, but I don't know if they're a minor league team or if it's some sort of weird like baseball dancing theater deal. But as far as on social media, they kick butt, man. It's really awesome to watch those videos. They're putting on a show, which is pretty neat. So Jeffrey Taylor, though, he is up 10 spots from where he started, has also been able to make up a lot of spots. We did see some issues back here in the back. These drivers have lost the draft, and it's so easy. It's one of the worst parts about trying to stay out of trouble and ride in the back is in these cars, you can easily lose the draft. There will be a time where the rubber band sort of stretches out, and then all of a sudden the draft just kind of yanks the whole field together. With these big, huge runs. And if you're not careful and if you're taking it too easy, you can lose that draft and end up in a position like these guys right here where they're trying to be as single file as possible, but you see the field just driving away from them. So this is the worst feeling in the world on a super speedway type race is losing the draft. Now, they won't go a lap down as long as they stay organized. They just have a few laps through the stage. So this could be intentional. They could be completely fine with it, but it still wanted to highlight that it is easy to lose the draft if you are too passive here in Atlanta. It's not like the other ones. So these guys hanging around in the back. Now up front, it's still the same. No change, really. Everybody tightening up here. 2 lanes, pretty solid from the front all the way to the back. So they're 2x2. As you see, Mikey giving another shove to Kenny Coppola to kind of force him out into the lead. In chat, somebody said, imagine the Globetrotters, but baseball. So I think that's, I could not have explained it any better myself. So just a fun way to take the family out, have oh, we got a big move here. It's, Randy Mullins makes a move down to the bottom and almost gets turned by Kenny Coppola. Man, he really cut that close there. And man, almost disaster there. We'll see, and he's really having trouble here. That inside line has just all died from that particular thing. So a close moment as we close in on the end of stage number 1. Now is Coffee going to dive down to the inside. So now Kenny Coppola, from that one little move, goes from first on the bottom line to now third on the bottom line. So it didn't take much. It looks like Randy Mullins and the 74 of Chris Davis getting hooked up here at the front of the field. And now Alex Coffey with a big push from the 12 of Nick King is now going to push out ahead in the Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine car. So, no, he'd love to get in victory lane, have the sponsor of the race be on the hood of your car. But the Ram Performance, the OB Builders, that Ram team is getting hooked up early, getting up to the front. Man, these guys know how to show up when it matters. Randy Mullins is one of those types where, sometimes you don't even talk about him to the final stage, and then all of a sudden, boop, there he is. It's such an interesting, driver personality. He's not flashy. He definitely doesn't go up there and he'll start up front every single week, but he's always there at the end. He definitely knows how to get it done. This time, though, he's making moves, being aggressive up here at the front, getting together with his teammate to try to control this race. Now, those yellow banners that you see on the cars, those indicate playoff drivers. So when you see those yellow windshield banners, you'll know that those guys are in the playoffs. Those are your playoff drivers. As we move into the next rounds, we'll actually have a little indicator on the timing tower here that will let you know who is a part of the playoffs and not. But right now, the banners, the best way to know who are your playoff drivers. So after about 30 laps, we should start to notice a little bit of handling efficiency out of these cars. What I noticed in my own race last Sunday was that the car would get really loose on entry, especially in a very specific aero situation, and it could step out really quickly, and you're just not aware. You know what? We saw Kyle Larson do that, where he goes down to the corner and just almost loses the darn thing. Is Randy Moll's looking down to the inside of his teammate, maybe, but Chris Davis actually gets back down in front of him. But they were really pushing hard. Kenny Coppola was kind of squeezing the 54 between him and his teammate as this pendulum back and forth of the bottom and top lines continues to kind of swing. But yeah, you'll go down to the corner, and if the setup is just not right, boy, you'll get a little loose condition, and you'll feel the car start to slide, and you'll have to run up and actually try to catch it as it kind of scoots up the track. And if somebody's right on your door, that could lead to disaster. But, you know, I raced on a fixed setup. These guys on the open setup, and you can see the 54 actually gets a little bit loose there as he moves up the track, gets Alex Coffey right on his back bumper. So Randy Mullen's not exactly perfectly comfortable going forward with your regular season champ. Looks calm and focused. He gives another shove to Chris Davis as they now want to control that outside line. Maybe not comfortable with how hard Kenny Coppola was pushing him on the bottom, and said, you know what, maybe we'll jump up here and try to control it from the outside line. But wanted to go on board and kind of highlight maybe if there were some nervous feelings. You can hear a slight lift in the corner. Look how tight that car is getting, actually. So interesting. So I don't know if he got sort of an aero wash or what happened there, but you could hear him lifting into the middle of the corner. You don't see that at Talladega. So just maybe a slight lift just to keep the car going straight, keep it on the ground, keep it planted. You go in full throttle, the weight transfer just kind of almost wants to send the car around. So you have to be careful. So he's giving just a slight lift. And when I say a slight lift, maybe about to 80%, 85%, maybe 90%. Just a little bit to keep those rear tires on the ground. And you can see his teammate kind of pull up in front of him, and man, he had too much of a run. Gonna be able to check up enough, but man, he had Alex Coffey all over his back bumper. And now they're going to hold on to it. Oh, I think we got something going on. A wreck. Brandon Fetterplay, Shane Davis have gone around the first caution of the night here on lap 36, and that should be the stage. We'll go back here and look on the replay and see what happened, but it looks like Brandon Fetterplace. Go back and see what went wrong in the 34 here, and it's already happening as the 79, excuse me, kind of moves up the track just a little bit at just the worst moment. Watch on board. Brandon's going to get a huge shove right here. Look at the big draft that he gets. He gets right to the back bumper, and it's just a checkup from the 79, excuse me, at the worst time. And just look at the run that he's going to get right into the entry of the corner as that outside line checks up. And it's just, yeah, I mean, this is a racing incident. Little bump from behind with Blaine Wilson, a couple drivers, but great saves from those folks. And then these drivers just kind of making contact, spinning down to the inside. I think, though, it's going to be okay. So that will be your end of the stage as everybody comes down pit lane, and your stage winner, again, going to be Kenny Coppola, I do believe. So I have to go back and see at the time of caution, but I would imagine that would lock the field, and Kenny Coppola would be that driver. Oh, Kenny is going to slide through his pit stall. That's going to cost him precious time here on this stop. We'll see if he is able to maintain some track position, but you definitely don't want to be sliding through your stall. You can see Bikey coming out. Everybody, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 spots he's going to lose on pit road. So your stage winner with trouble here on this first pit stop. So there you go, stage number 1 in the books. And as they come off of pit road, Brandon Bikey will have the lead. Chris Davis will come out second. Paul Gallimore has a great stop, able to take advantage of some issues that other folks had the fastest time in his box. So compare him to Kenny Coppola. Paul Gallimore had a 14-1, which these aren't exact numbers. The time and scoring software that we use start timing as they stop in the box. Their pit stops are a little bit quicker than this, but it's still a great comparison tool. Paul Gallimore 14.1 in his box, where Kenny Coppola 15.6. So a second and a half difference in his box compared to Kenny Coppola, and you can see the difference. Paul Gallimore in third, Kenny back in seventh. So it doesn't take much, and you definitely don't want to have that happen under green if we do get some green flag stops in that final stage. You definitely don't want to see that happen. So shake it off, get those mistakes out now, and be ready for that final stage. Going to take the green flag here on lap 40 for the beginning of stage 2. So a rare time where stage 2 is going to be longer than stage 1 with that caution coming out when it did. So far so good. Pretty tame racing, I think. I think early on, and I think you'll see that again as once on these restarts, it gets single file pretty quickly until everything gets up to speed. Then once it does, the runs from the top side can start to manifest. Right now, it's going to be sort of a single file bottom lane. You're going to want to fight to get down to the bottom if you're on the outside early on. But after 2 or 3 laps, that outside line will start to do something, and then folks will start making moves into the restart zone. Bikey going to get a big jump here, and I don't know. That's going to be pretty detrimental going into turn 1. We'll see how quickly it changes. You see the outside line is already nose to tail as George Schmeets gives a huge shove to Randy Mullins. That's going to upset that top line, though, as he jumps down to the bottom. So he gives the 54 the bump, going to kill that run. Now he's going to get the run to the bottom. And while I thought that top line was going straight to the front, now I think, oh, my goodness, as Schmeets and Gallimore come together, have to check up. So now the bottom line dies out. So interesting moves there from George Schmeets is going to kind of change the complexity of this restart. And they are racing the dog food out of each other. Almost had a big wreck there as Jordan Schmeets was all out of shape. As now Ram going to take the lead again. Chris Davis surges out ahead. The 54 not quite clear. Looks like they wanted to kind of come down to the bottom line together, but could not do it. Now they are definitely clear. We'll see if they jump down to the bottom now. Electing to stay at the top. Here comes a surge from Bikey as Alex Coffey pulls down. Tries to get a little bit of side draft. In this car, you hear side draft thrown around a lot, but in this car, just the way this works, the way that it punches air, a hole in the air, you can actually manipulate the car that you're running side by side with greatly. You ever see 2 cars go side by side, they'll slow each other down so much. All you have to do is take your front end, put to that right, a left rear quarter panel or the right rear, and it will actually suck that car back. it seems like you're kind of getting a surge forward, but it's not happening. You're actually pulling that car back, and boy, it is such a nice tool if you know how to use it at the right time. We saw Alex Coffey doing it there just to try to stymie. You can get two cars that are locked bumpers and actually pull them apart with that move. So great tool to kind of utilize later in the race for sure when you're trying to go for a win. I'll tell you what, I am thirsty, and I'll tell you what would help me is a lot is some Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshines. People are asking in chat where to get it. Where can I buy this? And you know, I don't know. I would love for Charles in the chat to post a link, because I think a lot of us seeing this graphic, my mouth's watering. I want to know where I can get some myself. I have to, you know, somebody in this race is going to get some for free, whoever the winner is, but I'd like to maybe get some myself. Or maybe he'll post a link in the chat and we can all go find out where we can purchase some of this. And if you're interested at all, definitely go purchase it, because it means a whole lot to these sponsors who sponsor these races when it actually manifests to some business. That's the best way to get more sponsors, is when it actually benefits their business. So if you get a link in there, somewhere to go buy it, definitely click on it. Support Moonshiners Racing League. And what better sponsor to have for tonight's race is an actual moonshine. Well, BMP Beast Mode is now out front. They've got the bottom 4, 5, 6 maybe. And that bottom line definitely looks like it is surging ahead. But here comes the outside line, as Jordan Schmidt's going to go up a little bit to try to stall it out. But the two up front, you can see, it is very clear that their teammates, their paint schemes are extremely similar. And Gallimore giving a huge shove. See a yawn out of Jeffrey Taylor. Where is Jeffrey? Jeffrey Taylor back in the 9 car. He is, I saw a big yawn out of him. We need to get him some moonshine or something, because he had a big yawn on his camera. Just running in line, nowhere to go. So it's tough. Let's go on board with it. And this may be why. A lot of fun going on up front. Games being played with those lines. But back here, it's just trying not to run into the guys that your line checks up a little bit. Just riding, trying to find an opportunity, but just nowhere to go. Third line will be a tough ask out of these cars on this track. You'll see some folks try it. Very rarely will it work, but right now, Jeff, nowhere to go. Just kind of hanging out, looking these laps off. Alex Coffey going to jump down in front of him. Alex doing what you have to do. It seems like, well, why is he moving around so much? He is trying to find the lane that's moving. If he can get some movement out of this top side, he'll stay up there to try to keep moving forward. If he can pass a couple cars, the gap opens up, jump down to the bottom. You have to continue to do that, or you'll find yourself at the back. But up front now, Brandon Bikey continues to lead. Coppola, who led a majority of the first stage, is back here in the 4th spot after that botched pit stop. But they stay connected as a team and continue to kind of control this race. Ram on the outside has really tried to, with Ig Esports mixed in with Nick King, trying to make that outside work. But BMP down on the bottom, they have really connected up, and it is a train of those drivers. Tell you what, I saw a paint scheme I wanted to look at earlier. Man, look at here, Justin Belmont. What an amazing looking paint scheme. Normally with the sort of casserole scheme. And but tonight got a Warrior Wraps number 6 machine is the 24. Maybe going around. Oh my goodness. Big wreck. Well, they actually kind of save it. Ryan Huff had gotten a little out of shape and made contact. He's going down pit road, but we stay green. We kind of saw that happening. Let's go back and watch that real quick, as we do stay under the green flag condition. But You can see there in that sort of teal pink car, a checkup on the outside. Same situation that happened earlier in the race. Middle Miss going to get into the back of him. Somebody else in that green car gets a little bit out of shape, but keeps it going. And unfortunately, you can see Ryan Huff, that Toyota Camry is all tore up the right front, just kind of pointing the wrong way. And he's going to come down pit road and call it quits. So he is out of this one, unfortunately. But we stay green. No caution there as everybody was able to hang on to it. Great job by everybody. And we continue to race here. That inside line is still going, but here we go. Look at that. Back here at the back, Tim Wortman Jr. now starting to lose the draft. He does have Jeff Carson behind him, but you can see the gaps back here and just that checkup having to lift a little bit. Even on restarts here in these cars in super speedways, if you don't go on a restart, if you try to just roll in the throttle, take it easy, you will lose the draft. I have seen it happen many a times, and this is how quickly it can all go wrong. Like I said earlier in the race, with those drivers who were kind of hanging around in the back, it doesn't matter. There'll be a stage here before too long, and these guys look like they're going to get organized and should be able to catch back up to that pack. As long as you don't run side by side, you'll be pretty quick. 5 drivers, nose to tail, I believe, is the number here on iRacing. I think it's like that in real life, but I think it's 5 drivers, similar to the way real life is, 4 or 5. Where if you get those guys nose to tail, that's as fast as you can get. Man, somebody down here on the apron, Nick King. Don't know if he had a problem. We'll kind of go back and check that here on the replay and see. But he was right in front of the 19 of Nicholas Atwood. Going to grab a little bit of that apron and does the right thing. That dark horse Mustang, almost went around. He could have come back up on track, but elects not to. And goes down on the apron, which probably saved a pretty big wreck. So Nick King going to fall back. Going to have some help, though, from the 6 to push him back up there to the front. So the pack's starting to kind of spread out here as it's kind of falling apart 20 laps into this run. And we'll see if this back group can kind of get organized and get caught back up. Wortman is sort of hanging on at about 7/10 of a second. And as they run side by side, you can see here Wortman has definitely caught back up. So sigh of relief for him. That was it could be bad on the final stage for sure. On board with Tim as he's now going to decide what he wants to do. You can see just nowhere to go at the moment. The outside line kind of pushing down on the inside kind of drifting up a little bit. That just doesn't give you a middle lane to run in. He's going to get to the back of the Savannah Banana car and going to check up a little bit. And now those drivers have caught back up. You got to go back to Hunter Carmichael, who is the leader of that second little group of drivers who definitely have caught the main pack. So great job by those guys to stay in the battle and not give it up. Up front, still the same. Brandon Bikey, Paul Gallimore, George Schmeets, your top 3. Randy Mullins there on the outside is trying to continue to make that outside line work, and George Schmeets jumps out of line for just a second. Don't know if it was a bad push or what, but that kind of broke up that middle or inside line. And we'll see if the outside line could do anything with it, but it looks like handling is all over the place. Big lifts out of Alex Coffey as they go down in the corner. Not only to kind of settle the car on entry, but also to kind of get off of the 54. You can push, like right here, he's giving him a huge shove. You can see just how much momentum they gain. He shoves it pretty deep into the corner, but has to let go of him on entry. You can see both drivers, Randy Mullins actually gets pretty loose there as he was chasing the car up the track. And Coffey also, you can hear a little tire squeal or tire scrub off of the corner. So handling playing a big issue here tonight. And what we've seen in real life with the repave is we're starting to see more and more of the cars break up early in the season at Atlanta. we saw separation as guys were driving down the corner and having to lift a good amount, which kind of separated the pack out. And so I wonder if iRacing will kind of model in, kind of release some updates with the aging track as that Georgia sun lays down on this track over the years. It's going to affect the way these cars race, and I'm here for it. I think it's going to turn into something pretty interesting and neat. I feel like it's going to turn into something like what we used to see in the old days, where maybe two cars who get the handling right, they can kind of get hooked up, but it's going to be more of a handling track like old Daytona was before the repave. Going to have to really pick handling over just raw speed. But I think the repave will be so smooth enough that it's going to be an interesting deal, I think. Very much maybe as similar to the way Michigan was after the repave. I don't know. I'm just spinning my wheels. But look at that outside line. Has definitely made a big surge here as I'm rambling on. Randy Mullins, rambling man, going to take the top spot. He's got Alex Coffey, Barry Sanders, and Aaron Matthews, who are now making their presence known up here at the front. And, man, that outside line surges way ahead. Now 6 cars ahead in that outside line is the bottom with Brandon Bikey struggling to keep up. Everybody electing, though, to stay in that outside line. You normally see folks jump down to the bottom, but, you wonder as the handling starts to go away if that outside line doesn't become sort of the dominant line. We'll see if BMP can get that inside line back rolling. As they come off of the corner here, on the back stretch, through 3 and 4, we'll come to 12 laps to go, 13 really, to the end of stage number 2. And Randy Mullins is your leader in that 54 machine. Your regular season champ has been up front all race long. His teammate, he's kind of come disconnected from him. The 74 is back in 16th, now 17th position. But Alex Coffey has been a pretty good teammate to, which they're not teammates, but at least in this particular race, Alex Coffey's been on the back bumper of that 54 many times. So they've been working together really well. So see that outside line continues to be a good bit stronger every single lap. So interesting to see this development as we cross over into 31 laps on this set of tires, as the outside line is sort of becoming the more dominant line at the moment. I think we'd all can agree, though, that the outside line is the more fun line. If you can run up against the wall, broadcasted here on V-Speed, a race on Tuesday night. And Homestead, it's temperature dependent, just depending on how the setup is. That night, the bottom line was the dominant line, but there have been times at Homestead you can get up there, run the wall. Kansas, for sure, you can run the wall, get up right up against it, and it can be extremely fast. That is really fun to watch. It's Justin Belmont bounces off the wall a little bit off the corner. You can see these cars moving around. They definitely don't look planted. They seem like guys are just kind of shifting around in the corner. That's why you really don't want to push in the middle of the corner. It's just too much movement. Cars are getting light on the back end. Is Bikey going to get a little bit loose as he gets a push from Gallimore? And that bottom line surges ahead, though, still with that as they, I don't know, maybe everybody had a heart attack there like I did. Felt like Bikey was going to be in trouble there as he was able to hang on to it. But they're trying to be aggressive. Him and Gallimore to try to get back up to the front, and it's paying off. Back even with third place, Barry Sanders. Every time I say Barry Sanders, I really have to look up at the time and the score and make sure I didn't accidentally say the football player. Yes, it is Barry Sanders. You can see Gallimore trying to give a shove, trying to continue to push, but just having to lift so much. You hear that? That's a very audible lift off the throttle into the corner. And you roll back on and try to get to them at least halfway down the straight. And it looks like Mikey's actually maybe braking a little bit to try to initiate that contact. Either that or a little bit of side draft because he really kind of jumped backwards. See here again, just the run that Gallimore gets can be jarring. These cars can take it. They're very sturdy. You know, if you ever run in the Xfinity Series or the ARCA car, you know you cannot hit bumpers like that. Boy, you'll be going around in a heartbeat. In the old ARCA car, it's almost like you would lift the rear tires, just the way that pointy nose would get up under that rear end and almost lift the car off the ground in the back end and just send you spinning. You have to get like, about right. I mean, as close as you can get to the bumper without making contact, drag that brake a little bit, and be the fastest that way. But here, boy, you can lock bumpers, you can shove, you can just kind of like, I don't know, beat the piss out of somebody, and they can continue to go on. So these really sturdy, those big back bumpers, they can take a pretty good beating. 5 laps to go in this stage, and Randy Mullins continues to lead with Alex Coffey right behind him. Oh, you see Randy Mullins gets loose there. We saw it as he kind of made maybe a little bit of contact, but man, really out of shape that 54. Had to check up hard and got a little bit yawed out. Didn't really get sideways as the 15 pushes him into the corner. It almost like he was floating into the entry there as Alex Coffey pushing hard. Those stage points, those stage wins mean everything here in these rounds. Just so much can go wrong. And Coffey comes down, maybe a little side draft gone wrong, saves it, and continues on. That's why these guys are some of the best drivers. But look at how crazy things are getting right now. Schmidt's having to lift. That's going to mess up that bottom line. As you can see, everything's a little bit crazy here right now as guys are trying to push, be aggressive, but the cars are just not responding the way that they want them to. So we might see a wreck before this thing's over with. We saw one within 5 laps to go. There it is. Caution is out, and it's Nigel Christensen is around. And he was maybe all by himself. I don't know. But as here comes the field. He was out there by himself coming to the stage, and that will be the stage, and Randy Mullins will be your stage winner. But let's go back and see exactly what happened to Nigel Christensen. Unless I just picked. It was like they were pushing. They had lost the draft earlier. And the 89 gives him a bad little bump there, goes around the 89 because you can see him immediately getting on the brakes. Says, wow, everybody trying to avoid. That's Matt Mettler that gave him the shove, and that's what brought out the caution here. Let's go back and watch that again. See Matt kind of get out of the groove. The 17 going to go around, and then the 89 going to just immediately hit him right there on the left rear corner. Man, almost calamity for those drivers behind. So stage in the books. Randy Mullins is going to be your stage 2 winner. And now we set the stage for the final stage. And who's going to punch their ticket into the next round? Or will we have a non-playoff driver take the victory? We're going to find out in 83 laps. Pit road, though, wide open. As 4 tires and fuel will definitely be the call, and Alex Coffey going to win the battle off pit road. He's definitely not the stage winner, but he wins the battle off pit road and gets that 15 out front. And Randy Mullins had a pretty good pit stop. Alex was just a little bit better on pit road himself. You know, there's a skill involved. On iRacing, there is a pit speed limit, and the pit speed limit, I believe, is so in this case it's 45 miles an hour, and I think that means that the pit speed limit, it's actually 40, But in real life, NASCAR gives them 5 miles an hour. Well, if you give someone 5 miles an hour, competitors, they're going to push it. But here on iRacing, it is to be speeding. You have to run 46.0 miles an hour, and that is considered speeding at this racetrack. Well, if you can run 45.9 miles an hour, you're not speeding. You're technically 46 miles an hour, but you haven't crossed that threshold just yet. So there is a little bit of games you can play there with that. There's a 9/10 of a mile an hour that you can speed over the limit and still be okay. So some people don't know that. You have a little indicator that pops up when you come down pit road that tells you what your speed is, and you can sit there right at 45, which it tells you 45 is the limit. But you can actually speed up just a little bit. It'll click over to 46, but it won't say slow down. And that means that you're still in good shape. You're not going to get a penalty. And so some guys are just really good at hitting that limit and getting the most they can off of pit road. And as for Alex Coffey, that looks to be the case, as he was able to beat Randy Mullins, your pole sitter, out of that first box. Well, all right. Now intensity. I think the intensity might calm down just a little bit here. We're going to have just exactly what we did, but no stage breaks in between. Fuel saving, I think, is going to be the key here as they get ready to take the green flag. We'll see how aggressive they are, but I think you're going to want to save a little bit of fuel here to make sure that you get to the end with as much fuel as possible, because if we do get a green flag stop, you want to put the least amount of fuel as possible to spend the least amount of time on pit road. So I think saving fuel here is the ticket. But you have to balance whether or not you want to give up track position to save fuel. That's always a big decision to make. But here on the restart, Alex Coffey does get out ahead, going to jump in front of the 54, Randy Mullins. And here comes Barry Sanders with Aaron Matthews coming along with him. Whitnett King is, got somebody slow on the track. Jeff Carson slow on the track. Not sure what happened, but something is not right on that number 9 machine. It's actually the 000, but I don't know if he had a penalty or what happened. Let's see if we can go back on that restart and maybe find out what happened to him. I don't see anything crazy here. The guys changing lanes. I don't want to waste too much of the action here, but trying to see what happened to the 000 car here. It should be right about here. Oh, it just gets loose. Gets a little bit nervous on those cold tires. Gets hit from behind by Matt Cox. He does a 2-foot smash to save it. I love it. That's big brain moves right there. But out front, Alex Coffey surges back ahead. Barry Sanders now leading that inside line. Playoff drivers going to show up when it matters. And right now, we're watching a bunch of them up here. That inside line falls back a little bit, and Bikey and Gallimore immediately go to take control of that bottom line and try to retake the lead. Five of the 88 on Bad Boy Racing. So they'll be working together along with Brandon Fetterplace, Hunter Carmichael, and Warren Young. See those guys get connected as the race goes on. Oh, I don't know if we had a wreck or what's going on. Caden Norfrey all by himself. Number 20 having some issues, but we'll stay here on the lead pack. It seems like they're being just as aggressive as they've been all race long. We love that. That's good for a broadcast. They get single file and start to save fuel. That gets boring quickly. And we have to come up with stuff to talk about. I want to talk about racing. That's what I want to talk about. A lot of 54 fans in the chat, like always. We definitely appreciate everybody that comes out, not just 54 fans. We like all the fans of all the drivers. I'll tell you what, man, it makes them feel good when the family or friends They really care about what they do. You know, a lot of people look at sim racing and they think of it like a video game or whatever, and they don't really take it seriously. But the amount of effort and time these guys put in there to be competitive, especially in series like this, it takes a lot of work and a lot of skill to do it. And man, it's got to feel really good to these competitors to have their friends and family in chat cheering them on. They go back and watch it. They can watch the live chat replay. And it just makes you feel good when your family, friends, they care about what you do, they care about your hobbies, they're invested in it enough to sit down and watch a broadcast. Yeah, that support means everything sometimes. So definitely, shout out to all those folks in chat who show up every week to support their drivers. I know they appreciate it. The number 6, Justin Belmont. Does not have a playoff banner, but he is a playoff driver. And that number 6 down on the bottom. Leading that inside line. Now going to push up there to the inside of Alex Coffey. And he's going to try to take the lead with help from Brandon Bikey, who also doesn't have a playoff banner. But we know for a fact he is in the playoffs. 4-time winner this season. And while we've had 27 races, 4 doesn't sound like a whole lot, man. This is so competitive out there that, man, it's unbelievable how much it takes to get these wins. And when you can get them, 4 is like 1,000. Justin Belmont, though, going to lead this lap. Oh, he doesn't. Alex Coffey surged ahead there at the line. Now Belmont going to shift out ahead into the entry of 1. As you can see, Caden Norfrey now coming up, going a lap down. He's already 3 laps down. This will be he's already 2. Now he's going to go 3. He's going to move down to the bottom, let everybody go. I know the pack appreciates that. Well, so far, 2 folks have called it quits. Matt Bettler, Ryan Huff have both dropped out of this one. Ryan Huff with significant damage to 89. Made contact earlier in the race. He has called it quits. Ed Bowles Jr. has been sitting on pit road for about 45 minutes at this point. Safe to say he is not going to be out there. In the 16th of Jameson Middle Miss, he is on track, but 21 laps down after 11 minutes of damage. So outside of that, you got Caden Norfrey, who we just saw. He went a 3rd lap down, had a bunch of damage to that 20 machine. And then we still have 25 drivers on the lead lap. Oh, Randy Mullen's now going to look up to the outside, but couldn't get that run that he needed. I don't know if he was trying or if that was just the way his car just naturally went. But at the line, Justin Belmont is your leader. He's going to lead that lap, but a surge from the 15 as he continues to be dominant there on that outside line. Caution out on the field. Looks like Matt Mackin has spun along with maybe Jared Clark, who is slow on the track, but Matt Mackin is sitting there and is actually towed back to the pit road and brings out another caution here at Atlanta. Let's take a look, see maybe what happened. Oh man, it started with the 89. Matt Mackin was just a innocent bystander there. Try to go back and find out where. Can't even click on him anymore. We'll try to show you this replay, but unfortunately, the way that maybe it was another driver. I don't know what's going on here. Might have been the 69 of Jared Clark. Yeah, that's where it started. Excuse me. Having a brain fart. For some reason, I thought that said 89. But it kind of happens up in front of him. In front of the 3, maybe around Johnny Shade. You can see that contact on entry, and that just kind of bottled up that outside line, and Better Place going to get into the back end of the 69 of Jared Clark, and Matt Mackin just sort of an innocent bystander there as the hood up on that 01 machine. And caution, gonna come back out. Everybody comes down pit road. Fuel only, it looks like, on this stop. They definitely don't want to use up their 6 tire sets too early. But, well, at least for Randy Mullins, it is. He goes down pit road and takes fuel only. 6.6 seconds, definitely not enough for 2 tires. And everybody behind him took a whole set of tires. So that is 15 lap difference, and we're going to notice that immediately. I think Randy Mullins is an incredible driver. But I think this will be interesting to see just how big a deal 15 laps here at Atlanta is. I've seen it firsthand, and it can be a little sketchy when you got those 4 tires behind you. So we'll see how that plays out, but it'll be a good indication of how good Randy Mullins really is, because he's going to have a lot to fight for here. 15 laps is not that many laps. It's probably closer to 10, but it's still going to be a pretty significant difference. We'll see if that really manifested in any way, but he's all alone with that no tire call. And so far, I think these guys are on their 4th set of tires, so it may be a scenario where Randy Mullins trying to save a set for the end of the race. If we get down there, they're already on their 4th. They have 6, so that leaves 2 more for all the rest of the drivers, and Randy's going to have 3. So if we get some cautions here, Randy can come down. He'll have an extra set maybe late. And we've seen in these races, no matter what league you're racing in, these plate tracks, well, super speedway tracks, have the common theme, which is the field sort of starts to thin out closer you get to the finish. And so right now, saving a set of tires going back to 25th doesn't seem like a great call, but we get to this end of this race, there might be only 11 drivers on the lead lap. And that tire difference could be a great call there for him. So we'll see how he does here on this restart. He'll actually be pretty quick here on the first lap, as those cold tires still getting up to temp. But once they do, we'll see how big of a difference it makes. But pace car going to pull off here on lap 97 of 163. We still got a long way to go in this race, as Randy Mullins going to lead them down into the Geico restart zone. It's rolling there on that outside line. We'll see if he stays up there with Bikey or jumps down to the bottom. And when you get in a situation where you take no tires versus 4, a lot of times, man, everybody kind of, it's like blood in the water for sharks. Everybody kind of takes advantage of you. So far, so good for the 54. Getting a really big bump there from the 27. Brandon Bikey continues to push forward. Here comes the 6. Gets a shove from Jordan Spieth, that inside line. Rolling now is, man, Justin Belmont going to fly right by that top line. Big shoves on the bottom. Got Aaron Matthews pushing the 4 of Jordan Schmeets, and they got hooked up almost immediately. Big moves. Here comes the 1 of Warren Young. Mikey gonna bail on that outside line. These drivers on those fresh tires able to drive down to the corner, keep it wide open, really not have any kind of lifting or necessary, oversteering of the steering wheel, where Randy Mullins gonna get into that a lot quicker than these other drivers. So, in about 15, 20 laps, you'll start to feel those front tires go away. And he'll be scrubbing off a lot more speed than these guys. They're able to carry so much more at the moment. Going to settle in on this outside line, but you can see right away just how much difference those 4 tires made, as Belmont now takes control of the race. And now the outside line going to start to form up with somebody else out front. And that's Hunter Carmichael jumps up in front of Aaron Matthews. Side by side as the front three break away a little bit is Nicholas Atwood, Hunter Carmichael, and Matt Cox making an appearance up here. I haven't mentioned him that much here tonight, but he is sitting there on the bottom in that number 32 machine. Outside line trying to get organized. Get the top side rolling, the inside like it has been so far, dominant early. See the three starting to get it going. There, Matthews pushing him. Big shove down the front straightaway as they cross the line. See just how much more speed the outside line can carry into the corner. Then down the straightaway, they obviously have the momentum. Big shove is now here comes the three of Hunter Carmichael to the lead. Hunter Carmichael, Aaron Matthews, Warren Young all started at the back, and here they are up front, nose to tail in that outside line. Bad Boy Racing making an appearance up here. A show of force, I might add. Cars kind of shifting around here as it's kind of a cluster, you know what, back here sort of towards this back part of the top 20. Randy Mullins has been able to settle in up here at the top line. He's still in that 6th position. So that tire difference doesn't seem to be hurting him too bad. And this is why the third lane really doesn't, there is no third lane at this track. Man, he is really, you can hear the tire scrub as it goes into the corner. But there is no third lane because look how the cars move around. How they get Daytona. You can stay pretty much single file, very minimal movements on the entry of the corner. But here, the cars kind of drive down a little bit and then kind of push up in the middle, depending on your particular line that you're running. But you see just the movement, just is too much movement to try to have a third lane. You can see he drives in the corner and almost just kind of leans over on the right rear as he lifts and then gets back on the throttle to try to carry that speed. But up front, the inside line has gotten back going. Belmont now playing both lanes. We see this in real life where a driver will get up there, block one lane as it gets a run, and then as the outside line gets another run, you kind of move up there and block the air there. Just control the race from the front. It's something that happens in real life, and it can happen here. It just takes somebody willing to do the work of going back and forth, back and forth. If you're not careful, though, it can put you in a position where you throw a late block and end up turned. So Belmont going to settle here on the bottom, but that's going to allow Hunter Carmichael with Aaron Matthews pushing him to kind of move on out front a little bit, say, jockey for position up here at the front of the field. A lot of really good paint schemes in this field today, but man, I don't know what it is about this 6 machine, but man, it's such a good looking scheme. I've already talked about it once. I hate to continue to talk about it, but man, it just looks good. Of course, I love patriotic paint schemes, but some of them can be pretty cheesy. I think some of them are a little bit over the top, too much graphics. You know, we got a car that's going a lap down here. That is 69 of Jared Clark, going to stay down on the apron, let the pack go through. But a lot of times the patriotic cars kind of go a little crazy. They'll have an eagle with some, you know, M16s or something on there with fire going off in the background. It just kind of gets busy. But I like simplistic schemes like this where it's still a racing paint scheme. It's not something kind of wild and crazy, but it definitely gets the point across. But he continues to lead the way. Thought about maybe jumping up in front of Hunter Carmichael, but going to stay down on the bottom. Schmidt's going to give him a big shove into the entry of the corner, and Schmidt's kind of moving up the track just a little bit, trying to chase that car. Right now, they're going to cross the line next time by. 20 laps here on these tires, and Randy Mullins still hanging on back here in that 12th position. Alex Coffey has been behind him since they started. They have fallen all the way back from the front row back to outside the top 10. Big pushes on the outside from Mikey as he's going to push Jordan Schmitz out front. Mikey, of course, with the VR headset. And I can tell you, if you can stand it, I can't. I tried to use the VR. I get motion sickness. Honestly, if I race for an hour in VR, it was like 8 hours where I felt like I was a different person. So I don't know what that was about, but some guys can do it, and Mikey is one of them. At VR, what it does, it just gives you that feeling when you sit down in a car, the depth perception, looking at the car around you, being able to turn your head and look to the side, look at an apex if you're in a road course, or even in racing like this, being able to look at the drivers beside you. It's such a cool thing, but caution is out. And it looks like Aaron Matthews has gone around. As I'm running my mouth about VR, I thought I had a little bit of time to talk about something, and boy, we have had a caution. This happened up towards the front of the field as we were watching out the front of the 27. Something happened between the 5. Maybe the 3. We'll see right here. Maybe if it was a checkup or, oh my goodness, the 79. That's Shane Davis. Gets into the back bumper. That was weird. I have to go back and see that from his point of view. He actually just gets... He just gets out of shape here. We'll go on board with him. He kind of steers to the right, and then as he gives this little... Oh, he just keeps going straight. Huh. I was trying to make an excuse for him, but I don't know if there is one there. I don't know if maybe he thought he was clear or what, but he just kept going straight there at the dog leg. I think he thought he was going to get clear in front of the 5. I'm not sure, but man, he just runs flat over it. Go on out the back bumper of Aaron Matthews here and kind of see if we can try to figure out what happened there. I'll move the camera a little bit, do a little wacky stuff here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I don't know if maybe he sneezed. Maybe he sneezed and just missed the corner there. I'm not sure, but that was definitely weird. Maybe I've seen that happen when your computer kind of locks up for a second. That kind of stuff can happen. So not really sure what happened there, but Aaron Matthews now going to get some repairs as everybody else came down pit road to take a set of tires. And that's perfect for Randy Mullins, who is now going to have 2 more sets if he needs them. And we still got a long way to go, over 43 laps to go. So interesting to see that kind of play out in Randy's favor. I mean, if they have a 20-lap run here and, I don't know. They all still have 1 more set. And with 43 laps to go, I still think that extra set's probably going to continue to stay in the pits. But it didn't really hurt him. I mean, he lost some track position. He's in 9th place now. So it wasn't detrimental. And you never know what can happen to have an extra set versus the field and still hold on to your track position. Not a bad call. So why would I ever question the regular season champ? I don't know. But Nicholas Atwood will come out with the lead. I think he took 2 tires or maybe no tires, one of the 2. So he'll come out with the lead. Lights are out on the pace car. Going to have just over 40 laps to go in this one. All right, here we are. Coming to lap 122, Nicholas Atwood with the lead. Stays out on older tires at 8.2 seconds. That's very much, seems like no tires. Normally it's around 9.5 seconds for 2 tires, but into the Geico restart zone. We'll see if he can make it play out in his favor. Gonna get a big push from Brandon Bike. He does the right thing, doesn't drive away. Actually backs up to Bikey, lets him push him inside that inside line. Going to get a nice little push. Here comes Paul Gallimore with Matt Cox right behind him. As Schmeets now gets the momentum. And here they go. Beast mode goes right up to the top, right in front of Jordan Schmeets. Kind of stalls that outside line just for the moment. But they are so packed tight as the 6 gets into the wall that they should get a really nice run here off the top side. Oh, Nicholas Atwood gets a push from Matt Cox. Going to drop down to the apron. Going to come back up on the track. He's going to stay there. Now they're going to be 3 wide. There you see Alex Coffey in the middle with Barry Sanders right behind him as everybody going around Nicholas Atwood. That's what I was talking about. You're almost like a leopard when you don't take tires, and especially if you don't take tires and you about lose it. Everybody just avoids you like the plague, and so he's going to fall from the lead all the way back to 15th position as the 000 of Jeff Carson gets loose. Another 2-foot smash out of him. He's able to keep it together, and out front, it has been beast mode. Down on the bottom. On the bottom row, they are, oh my goodness, is George Schmeets again pushes up in the middle of the corner. Thought maybe Belmont might go 3 wide, thinks better of it. Before maybe trying to do a little bit of side drafting there on the 1, trying to stall that line out. And it's working. See the 1 of Warren Young getting a big push there from Hunter Carmichael. They got a big, that was a lot of momentum as they shoot up to the front on the top side. Oh, into the wall goes Hunter Carmichael. This might be the big one as they pile in. Jamison Middle miss. Oh, Tim Wortman Jr. and Randy Mullins all involved as the big one happens here in Atlanta. It's been building and building, and finally, Hunter Carmichael goes around in front of the field and brings out the caution here on lap 127. Man, that was a lot of good cars. The 54 involved and others. Let's go back and see what happened. See on the outside line, yeah. The 18 of Blaine Wilson gets a run, decides to take it, and I don't think the 3 was really expecting it to happen. This is about a lap back. We'll kind of watch this all develop. Barry Sanders down on pit road. Randy Mullins, see that inside line, sort of check up. These guys are going to get way out front here, and Blaine Wilson's going to see an opportunity. He's going to try to jump up to the outside. Hunter Carmichael not really expecting it, kind of lazily tries to block it, and really, honestly, there's no room there. I'm a big fan of Blaine Wilson, but I think that was one of those moments where, golly, big wreck back here. 54, other drivers, big contact. That's one of those times where split second decision, it's happening so fast. You see the drivers trying to miss the wreck, and oh man, Barry Sanders comes right down into the 54. And Tim Wortman Jr., just an innocent bystander. Both those drivers, big damage. Watch here from Tim Wortman Jr.'s. Everybody sort of trying to avoid the wreck. Bam! On board Randy Mullins as that all started to develop. Right in front of him, you're going to watch that 88 trying to avoid the wreck. I don't know if he gets hit from behind. He does. He gets hit by the 12, and really not Barry's fault. 12 just gets into the back of him and sends him down, and it's just a calamity. Watch from Nick King. There's the wreck is happening. Gets into the back of the 88. And man, look at all the calamity behind him. Damage to a lot of good cars. So, under caution here. We had 2 stage cautions, so 3 cautions. This is the 3rd one tonight. So, well, I mean, both stages, I think, ended under caution that just happened right at stage. So I guess we have really had 5 cautions actually this time. So, but we're getting down to the end of this thing. Just going to be 33 laps to go once we take the green flag. That was a lot of really good drivers. Randy Mullins, Barry Sanders, Hunter Carmichael, Chris Davis, Aaron Matthews, Tim Wortman Jr., Jamison Middlemiss is now out. Johnny Shade has been down pit road. Aaron Matthews getting a lot of damage fixed to those cars. So a lot of really fast drivers out of this one. Your stages here tonight. Stage winner, Kenny Coppola, number 1. And then stage 2, it was Alex Coffey. Right now, Alex Coffey is running in the 5th or 6th position. Running right here on the bottom, so 5th. And Kenny Coppola is running back in 12th. So whose race is it? I don't know. Warren Young, non-playoff driver, going to lead them down to the green flag. Going to have 33 laps to go, and he's going to get a big jump, and that is so bad. Man, it's so tough to get a big jump on a restart like that. And of course, Paul Gallimore probably not going to work with him no matter what. Watch this is the massive run that these two are going to get. But he does a great job, though, I have to admit, of blocking that big run as they give him a big shove. He's going to maintain that lead. So he did a great job. I think that might have been a slight mistake, but I think Bike is going to push him out front. We'll see if he kind of bails on him or stays with him. But right now, Warren Young for Bad Boy Racing now out front, but he has got a lot of BMP around him. He is going to be in trouble, I think. So. Well, let's do something we haven't done before, and we'll see if my mic is actually working, and it is. And we're going to bring Tim Wortman Jr., who was just involved in that wreck, to call the rest of this race. Tim, man, disappointing end of your night is now you're sitting on pit road with some damage, man. You know, wreck, there's really nothing you could do there, huh?
No, I was through it, and it looked like Randy made his way to the bottom, and he made contact with Barry. And
oh, we're wrecking! I don't mean to interrupt you, but Paul Gallimore is going around. Aaron Matthews involved, and Chris Davis now involved in a wreck as we have another caution as Gallimore goes around, and I think that was very similar to what we just saw. As we'll take it out. Take a little look at this replay. Gallimore was kind of down there by himself. I wonder if he didn't try to clear himself. Yeah, you see, he tried to clear himself in front of the 12 there. Just, oh, man, just tried to throw it in there. Oh, man, right in front of the 5. I don't know if he got loose. Let's go on board with Aaron Matthews here. Camera angle is that. Kind of see Barry Sanders have some issues there. And we'll watch Gallimore here. I don't know if he got loose or what happened. You see, he tried to clear himself up right here. No go. Oh, man, that's just... yeah, that's a tough one right there. That's a couple times. Yeah, and Tim, you've been out there. You know how frustrating it is once you're in a line that's not moving and you're trying to just bail and get to a different line. And you try to just make those moves as quickly as you can because you know you might lose 5 or 6 more spots. That track position is important. And so you kind of felt that out there. What was it like trying to, especially on the restarts, try to get into a line that's moving?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I was running on the inside line. That's where you can seem to miss most of the wrecks. I don't remember where I was at there. I think maybe I was running the outside line since we're getting towards the end here. And I was through it. I think, judging by what I heard on Randy's end car, he got Barry got him, and his tires were he had lost control and just come back up and got me, even though I was through it.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It seemed like you were kind of biding your time there on the in the race, but I mean, what's the feel of the race out there? And we've seen some handling be a big issue. And it seemed like guys are really having to breathe the throttle, moving around a little bit. What did you feel out there that you were that these guys are dealing with?
Yeah, my car was a little tight on entry tonight, so I was just made an adjustment there at the end of the last stage, and was feeling a lot better as to how it was cornering on entry, and was just sitting there waiting for the lines to make their adjustment to where keep good track position there, and see what we could do to be in the right position there towards the end. And we're hanging out there around 7th. I thought we were in a good spot here for the last 40 laps.
Yeah. Well, you're out of the car into the broadcast booth. They got about 30 laps to go. Randy Mullins was saving a set of tires, but it's really been just a tale of trying to control the race, and now the field's starting to thin out. And Beast Mode's been pretty good up here, but you still got Warren Young. You got Justin Belmont. You've got Jeffrey Taylor. You've got a couple guys up here that can definitely get this done. You got Alex Coffey back in 8th. If you got about less than 30 laps to go now, what you're thinking? If you're up front, you've got to feel pretty good. If you're back at sort of the 10th position, how are you going to get up to the front?
Well, what you want to do is, as each line gets its run, if you see somebody that's let off too much, and they pull back from the car in front, you want to dip down and plug that hole.
Yeah, and it seems like at this track you can lock bumpers a little bit, but we've seen a lot of guys have to just make moves on your own. You have to kind of, you want to work with your team, but you also have to make those moves when the lines sort of give you those opportunities and kind of move your way up towards the front. But here, with just a few laps to go, that it's going to be sort of a tight track. You're not going to have a whole lot of place to go. Do you think anybody's going to be willing to jump up there and try to make a third lane?
I think there's going to be some desperate people that are going to make a third lane. I don't know if it'll happen here quick, but it's going to happen at some point. I guarantee it.
All right. Well, glad to have you up in the booth with us. You're going to stay for the rest of the race, and we're going to call this action. And, man, we've got a green flag here. Is Warren Young going to get into the Geico restart zone, put the pedal down? He's kind of out there a little bit. We'll see. He did a great job of blocking the runs that came from behind. We'll see if he can continue to do that this time. He's going to stay up on the high side, watch for the runs, but there's going to be a big push down on the bottom as Matt Cox there with George Schmeets gets a big push as Bikey gets to the back bumper of the number one. Big push into 3 and 4 for the 1 and the 27. 27's teammates down on the bottom. What do you think he's thinking right now, Tim, as he's out there sort of on an island controlling that outside line, but his teammates roll on the bottom? You think as that inside line starts to roll, he'll jump down?
I'm not sure where Brandon's pretty fast. I think he likes that outside line here towards the end of the race. You get pinned down on that bottom, and the outside line can side draft you and just pull you back. I think Brandon's going to stick up here at the top.
I mean, there's so much at stake in this race. I mean, teammates get you to the finish, but once you get to the end of these things, only one of you can win, and one of you is going to lock yourself into the round of 12. And you have to be in racing. You have to be selfish. It's hard to hear and it's tough to say, but you have to think about your own race. You want to work with your team to get you to the point where one of you, or at least 2 or 3 of you, have a chance to win. But man, I mean, at some point you've got to make the decision that I'm going to make the best moves for me and in my playoff run.
Yeah, right now it seems like Brandon's able to get to the back of Warren and keep giving him a push, whereas you see the 3 on the inside have a little more space between them.
Yeah, it seems like the outside line did get a really nice run towards the end of the tire life. We're only 20 laps in here, so I'm surprised that inside line is not doing any better than it is. I think maybe it's just a numbers game. That you can see there's just a lot less drivers in that bottom line. But you kind of mentioned it. Once you get to the end of the race, you want to be in the outside line because it just has so much. You have a lot more room, first off, because the outside line sort of pinches down the inside one. So on the outside, you have a lot.
What I noticed is they kind of got a good run coming here. It's like as soon as they would get up there, boom, it's like right now they got separated and fall back a couple car lengths. And that's what's frustrating in the 3rd or 4th in line. You're thinking, we're gonna make some moves here, and then it just comes to an abrupt halt.
Yeah, and you can see Jeffrey Taylor kind of thought about it. He was like, I want to go down to the bottom, but he's kind of peaked down there, maybe bailed on it the last second. It's tempting because at some point if you're in the 9, there's nowhere to go out front, but you can go to the left and be the leader of that line. So what you tell me, Tim, but you're kind of waiting. If you're Jeffrey Taylor, you're waiting for the push to come from that bottom line, and then once it starts to gain some steam, then you jump down there and take that lane.
Yep. Right now you're just sitting there riding, waiting for the last 5 laps and see, as they start making moves on one another, you need to try and get to that right rear corner.
Yeah, and then once you do that, especially if a couple of these cars kind of move lanes and start trying to pass, like once Bikey pulls out and tries to make the pass, that's going to slow both of them up so much. The runs from behind are just going to be massive, right?
Yes.
Well, down the back straightaway with 20 laps to go, and that outside line is still dominant. Warren Young holds on to the lead, and I said, being in the lead early in the race is good, but being in the lead at the end of the race sometimes is probably the worst place to be. You're almost kind of like, please pass me so I can be the one on attack for that last lap pass because it's coming. And so they're going to have some lap traffic up here ahead. And that's Randy Mullins. He's going to pull off the track way down on the apron. Disappointing night for him, running in 22nd. Not the finish that he wanted to have, especially in the first round of the playoffs. He does have all those bonus points. He'll be fine. But he's going to be out on the track trying to gain as many spots, especially if we have another big one. He can gain a few spots. Every point matters when it comes to the playoffs. But you need to watch this little it's sort of a calm moment, Tim, where everybody just kind of, maybe you're talking to your teammates saying, okay, what are we doing here? What do we need to work on? You know, what's the plan? Try to get on the same page. And or you're just riding, just letting the laps click off, and considering when you're going to make your move or what you're going to do. You know, if you're in, let's say you're in Jeffrey Taylor's position, fourth in line on the outside 10. At what point do you feel like I'm going to make my move? You're 20 laps out of the finish, or actually about 17 laps. When do you decide to make that move and start pushing up towards the front?
I was thinking right there, if you're Fetter Place or if you're Coffee, you know, right when they get to you there, maybe you think about dipping down. You know, because Matt and Schmeets there could be a pretty good combo there at pushing you towards that inside line towards the front. You got Kenny as the third car in line.
Well, here we go. He tries to make a move here on, or Coffee now goes to the outside, makes that third lane happen. Now Jeffrey Taylor right in the middle all by himself. We're going to be 3 wide as Cox make a little bit of contact on entry, and they're going to slow each other up quite a bit running 3 wide like this. But Jeffrey Taylor on an island in the middle of the track. We wondered who was going to make that third line work, and he is not able to do it. And boy, what a helpless feeling as you fall through the field with less time to the 17. Going to get in the wall. Nigel Christensen, and he saves it.
Good save by Nigel.
Warren Young
break up the pack a little bit there.
Yeah, kind of probably made everybody a little bit nervous and kind of take a breath. But Alex Coffey making his moves. We wondered who was going to make moves, and Coffey was the first one to do it. Gets up to the outside and able to take that spot. I think Belmont hit the wall again there on entry. He has done that a couple times, just flirting with that. But Bikey still giving the shoves to the one of Warren Young. Belmont hanging in that spot. 32 shoves the 4 through the middle of 3 and 4, but not really making any ground just yet. At what point do you kind of bail and jump up in that outside line, or you just be patient, wait, knowing that that top line is going to break up at some point? You know, Alex Coffey, as aggressive as he is, going to make some sort of move here to position himself. So I think if you're down on the bottom like Schmeets in the 32, you just bide your time, knowing that at some point they're going to get side by side and you'll have the run. You can see the shove that he gives down in 3 and 4 again. So it's about to, business is picking up. It's going to get wild here in the next probably 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, I can't believe it hasn't happened yet, but you just keep thinking somebody's going to jump down there in front of Schmeets.
Yeah, you would think so. Maybe the handling is just that much of an issue, or that bottom line has just not been moving forward. But yeah, you can see they continue to fall back as now Brandon Fetterplace has set himself right behind Coffey there on that outside line. So the inside line just lacking the numbers at the moment. And really the only 2 drivers that are really pushing is Cox and Schmeets. And you can see just not, there it is.
There.
Yeah, the 12 of Nick King now going to jump down to the bottom. Now they're going to gain.
We'll see when when Nick gets up to Belmo, if Belmo's going to drop down and have Nick push him.
Big shove out of Jordan Schmeets, the 12 car up side by side. No chance for Belmont to do that as he gets a big shove. Now they will fall back here as Schmeets comes off of the back bumper. They can continue to replicate that. They can make some moves here. You mentioned that bottom line being a little bit tougher as the tires wear 33 laps on these set of tires. So they're really going to be struggling for handling, but at some point, that 27 is going to pull out and try to make his move. But here again, Schmeets, big push to the 12 of Nick King. Now he's side by side. They are making up some ground here on the bottom, and it's all off the front bumper of Jordan Schmeets.
Belmo's going to have to protect that middle group. Oh, there. Never mind. As I say that, Coffey took that right-hand side and going to side draft him and pull him back.
Yeah, they're going to get 3 wide off of turn 2. Belmont, Coffey, Kenny Copel on the bottom, but you can see just how much it pulls everything, and it just demolished the outside line. Belmont continues to fight as they're 3 wide. Nick King took the lead for a moment, but Jordan Schmeets is now out front. He's going to lead the race as Brandon Bikey back here banging doors with a 15. That move to the outside for Coffey has shown to be detrimental so far but the outside line falls apart as they continue to run 3 wide back here.
I think what happened there was Nick tried to move up to help Justin get the draft back from being hung out in the middle, and that inside line was able to push Nick to the out.
Yeah, so Coffee, Bikey, going to be out here back in the back. Bikey continues to fall as now Coffee has kind of moved forward, but Jordan Schmeets, the best pusher that I've seen in the second half of the race, now leads the race, but now a big shove, 3 wide, less than 10 laps to go. Coffee pushing Warren Young on that outside. You see Matt Cox there in the middle, and then you got the 000 of Jeff Carson with Chris Davis pushing. Now here comes Bikey. Here comes Jeffrey Taylor in that middle line. And boy, they're banging doors through 3 and 4. You got to feel nervous if you're not one of those top 2 cars. The outside, oh, the middle lane gets a little out of shape. Coffee trying to push Warren Young out there.
And we're 3 wide, 4 rows deep.
You love to see it. We've been waiting on something like this. Will the 3rd lane work? And you see it does, but it just kills the run so bad that it's hard to stay that way for very long. And I think Kenny Coppola knows that. He is pushing Schmeets going, you know what, let's get away, get gone from all this. But, man, they continue to run back there 3 wide as they sort of moving around. Bikey kind of stuck, trying to get back up to the front, using an outside line now.
I think what you're going to see here is if Coffee can get somebody up to his bumper, that move that he keeps making, they keep leaving the outside open for him, and that is, you just can't do that right now.
Yeah, he did exactly that. As soon as you said it, he gets up to the outside of Warren Young and now sets his sights on Kenny Coppola, Jordan Schmeets. He's got some help maybe from Fetter Place. He doesn't really have a teammate up here as he gets in the wall. That's not, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, he was making the move, and I think Kenny probably blocked it.
Yeah, Kenny Coppola too smart to allow that to happen. He almost tried it again. Going to fall back a little bit. Now he's got Bikey on the back bumper of that 15. Warren Young going to push the 34, Fetter Place. Here comes Alex Coffey. Here comes Brandon Bikey. 5 laps to go, coming to 4 laps to go. I have no clue who's going to win this race. Single file, the first 4 cars on the outside. Fetter Place leads the bottom line, but the bottom line has broken up pretty substantially, and now you can see all the runs coming from the top side.
So the hard part, you want to, if you're Alex Coffey right now, you see 2 BMP in front of you, and you got at least 3 behind you. This, what you have to worry about is any move that you make, are they going to go with you?
Yeah, I think you kind of just hope that they try to race it out amongst themselves and put yourself in a good position to make your move whenever that does happen. You see him kind of back off of Kenny Coppola a little bit there, maybe trying to generate some sort of run. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, he's going to kind of peek up there. He's going to get into the wall, though. That's not going to help him at all. Gets into the wall as everybody tries to avoid him, and he is going to fall all the way back through the pack. 2 laps to go here in Atlanta. We've gotten all the way through it. Will we see the white flag or will the yellow come out? They're still racing 3 wide back here. Jeffrey Taylor in the middle. Coffey trying to get back going with Justin Belmont on his back bumper. Cox pushing the 5 of Aaron Matthews as they try to get back up towards the front. You see the runs generating quickly. Here comes Alex Coffey. He's going to take a turn down to the bottom line, but doesn't really have any help. Will anybody jump down there? We're going to find out, but we're going to get all the way to the end. White flag is out for Jordan Schmeets. 1 more lap to go here in Atlanta. Does anybody have anything for this BMP? And will they fight it out amongst themselves? And it looks like that's going to be the case. Bikey had a run, decided not to take it. Here comes the 79 of Shane Davis. Kenny Coppola locked on the back bumper of the number 4 of Jordan Schmeets. And coming off of turn 4, wreck behind him, but it doesn't matter. Jordan Schmeets is going to win here in Atlanta.
Wow.
Well, we talked about whether or not teammates would fight it out amongst themselves, and that's your answer. The answer is no. We're going to get as many points as we can, and we're going to have one of our guys go into the next round automatically. And great teamwork out of those drivers, pushing each other. And Brandon Bikey, after that falling back to the back, was able to work his way back up there and take the 3rd spot. And Jordan Schmeets will win the first round of the playoffs. He'll be playoff racing into the round of 12. And he burns them down here on the front straightaway. Congratulations to Jordan. You see his teammates lined up there celebrating with him. That Dark Horse Mustang is going to go to victory lane.
I may be mistaken, but I think that's win number 1 on this season for Jordan.
I think you're right. I think a lot of first-time winners. You were able to break your winless streak, get that win here just a few weeks ago. And now Jordan Schmeet's going to jump up into the win column. What a time to do it! The first race of the playoffs. That's pretty sweet.
After I think multiple wins in the 2023 season, you know what a better way to start off your playoffs if you've been winless all year than to get it in the first round.
Absolutely. Well, let's as the camera is just going crazy here. We'll go ahead and get into your results, see where everybody finished here tonight. Man, what an incredible race, and even better finish as the field kind of spread out there at the end. And let's get into the results. Jordan Schmeets started in 22nd, gonna come home with the race win and lock himself into the round of 12. Kenny Coppola, after winning stage 1, had that slide through his pit box and then kind of just hung out there for a while. Was able to push his teammate to the win. Brandon Bikey was up front majority of the race and going to finish up there in 3rd position. Justin Belmont had a great race, and what a way to start his playoff run. He was on the outside looking in for most of the last half of the season. Gets into the playoffs, going to finish 4th in the first round. That is a great start for that number 6 machine. Aaron Matthews is going to come home in 5th. Shane Davis comes home in 6th. Alex Coffey in 7th. Brandon Better place in 8th. Matt Cox in 9th. Nick King in the 10th position. 11th, going to be Chris Davis. Jeffrey Taylor in 12th. Jeff Carson in 13th. Blaine Wilson 14th. Barry Sanders 15th. Johnny Shade in 16th. Hunter Carmichael in 17th. Paul Gallimore 18th. Nigel Christensen in 19th. Warren Young to round out the top 20. 21st, Nicholas Atwood, Jared Clark. All these drivers multiple laps down with damage. Did not have a great finish tonight. These guys will be looking to make up something at Watkins Glen, maybe Bristol. But Jared Clark in that 22nd position. Randy Mullins, probably the story of the night. Your regular season champ. He'll be fine on points. He does come home in 23rd, but he definitely was up front. Would love to have gotten a better finish than that, but comes home in 23rd. 24th, Jameson Middle Miss. 25th, Tim Wortman Jr. in the booth for the last 37 laps. Glad to have him up here, though. 26th is Caden Norfrey. Matt Mackin in 27th. Matt Medler in 28th. Ryan Huff in 29th. Ed Bowles Jr. going to round out your 30-car field here tonight. Well, we're going to jump into some interviews, talk to some of these drivers, see what they thought about the race. Pretty interesting one, and Jordan Schmeets is going to be your winner. So we'll get him up into the booth and talk to him in just a second. Find him. All right, let's get him up into the booth. Winner tonight, Jordan Schmeets. Jordan, this is Eddie and Tim in the booth. Got a copy? And Jordan jumped right out. He's so excited, man. He didn't know what to do with his hands. He jumped down to dig racing. I don't know what's going on. But I guess I don't know if he doesn't want to talk or what's going on, but we'll move on to second place. And we'll talk to your second place finisher, Kenny Coppola. Kenny Coppola is Eddie and Tim in the booth. Got a copy?
What's going on, boys?
Man, what a great race. You won stage number 1 and had that slide through your pit stop, man, and kind of dropped you back a little bit. You kind of were running back outside the back half of the top 10 there, but to kind of working with your teammates here tonight, seemed like y'all had a pretty good plan, and there at the end, able to push your teammate to victory. Talk about your race, man. How'd it go?
Yeah, started out really good. Led a bunch of laps early, but the car with clean air just starts getting loose. You wear the right rear tire out a little bit. It started getting a little bit of a handful, so had to back the pace off a little bit, try to get some dirty air to help tighten the car up. Made some adjustments at the pit stops, and I mean, this thing was a rocket ship tonight. I just hung out mainly mid-pack outside the top 10, save fuel, and planned to start racing with about 20 laps to go, and our plan worked out tonight.
Yeah, and there at the end, you've got a lot of regular season stage points. You've got a nice healthy spot in the championship, and there at the end, electing to push your teammate to the win. Talk about that. We kind of were discussing it whether or not these guys have got the numbers up here. Do they fight it amongst themselves? And it seemed like you were plenty fine with just pushing him to the win. Was that always the plan, or what was your thought at the end? Just to, hey, I'm not even going to make a move. I'm just going to push my teammate to the win.
Well, we work as a team over here at BMP. We want to see everybody do well, make it to the next round. I came in with a lot of playoff points. I had another one tonight for the stage win, and Schmeets was a little bit further back in the standings. So I pushed him to the win. He pushed me to one at Daytona in the official race not too long ago. So I repaid the payback tonight.
Man, that's awesome. Well, that's what teammates are for. What's the point of being teammates if you can't do it like that and help somebody get the win when they need it, maybe a little bit more. So, uh, congratulations to you. I mean, you had a fantastic season. You continue that here tonight with a second place finish, man. Who you got to thank here tonight?
Yeah, just want to thank the guys at Beast Mode Performance. It's awesome racing with them. Be able to come out here, finish 1, 2, 3 tonight, work as a team all night. I know Shane and Chris had a little bit of issues and found their way back up front. Uh, Definitely my wife for allowing me to do this. Kistler Custom Fishing Rods, Martin Sports Boomer Button Box, Team Watson Racing Setups, DB Builders, Moonshiners Racing League. And then I always forget it, but you wonderful fans that sit here and watch us old men come out here in races, pretty darn cool. And just appreciate you for doing what you do, Eddie.
All right. Well, there you have it. Second place finisher here tonight. Kenny Coppola pushes his teammate to the win, and he'll be setting up really good for the next couple races. Now let's bring in third place, Brandon Bikey. Brandon, this is Eddie and Tim in the booth tonight. You got a copy?
Eddie and Tim, what a treat.
Well, hey, the treat was you tonight. Just how fast you were. That 27 car was a rocket ship. Y'all were boot scooting here tonight. I don't have your cam, so apologies if you watch the broadcast back and it's not there. But it seemed like that 27 car had no problem staying up front. Was that sort of your plan, just to get up front and stay there for the majority of the race?
Yeah, definitely. You want to stay out of the wrecks. That's a crazy track and it can go real sideways real quick. So it seems like obviously the danger zone is anywhere from the middle of the pack back. So I definitely didn't want to be back there at all. And I wanted to stay up front. And Kenny's setup was just, again, on rails. I mean, this is like 6 out of the last 7 weeks that Kenny's setup has won the race. So I couldn't be more proud of him and just more honored to drive a Kenny Coppola setup. So.
Yeah, and there at the end, I mean, you guys were obviously working together really well, and you were pushing the one there for a while, just kind of maintaining that track position. And Tim kind of thought maybe you like to stay up on the outside line, and we saw the bottom kind of be good early on the tire run, but as it went on, that outside line sort of picked up a lot of momentum and was really fast. Is that kind of what you felt like was going on throughout the race?
Yeah, we noticed the same thing. I mean, and you just have more control on the outside because the side draft doesn't really work from the inside car, but it's a parachute if the outside car comes down on you. So it's very uneven and not realistic. I wish iRacing would fix that a little bit, but you can control so much more from the outside. So that's where I wanted to be. And Warren he's so fast the whole race. It was a great car to be behind, and it was a pleasure, running with him and pushing him. And I was going to stay there until the very end of the race, and it just didn't shake out that way with kind of what happened behind us a little bit. So, it's all good. It's what happens, but we fought our way back up there, got with my teammates, and we just kind of kept it there the rest of the race. So that was great.
Yeah, I mean, were you surprised how clean? I mean, Atlanta is a super speedway now, but it's a tighter only being a 1.5 miler. The banking just 28 degrees, but it still provides pretty good racing. But it's tight quarters racing. It's hard to get those 3 lanes going, but there at the end, you guys were able to kind of be 3 wide, a couple rows deep, and to your detriment because it was just pulling you guys back. It was so tough. But how do you in those moments stay kind of calm even when you're 3 wide, fall into the back, and knowing that okay, I've got the car to get back up the front, I just got to get kind of wound back up.
I love running 3 wide. I love it. I think I'm not uncomfortable in the middle at all. It's kind of fun for me. It's so stupid to do here. I mean, it's I luckily had a bit of a buffer coming in with wins and stage wins and stuff, so I didn't have to really worry too much. But I'm just as comfortable running in the middle as I am on the inside or the outside. So I was having a good time. It definitely wasn't the place to be. It was kind of the sucker hole. But as soon as I got a lane on the outside, I knew that was where I was going to make some ground back up. So luckily I got a spot back out there and then was able to come to the front.
Yeah. Well, man, what a great first race for BMP for sure. First, second, third, can't beat that. And y'all are going to be sitting pretty going into the round of 12. So, congratulations on the third place finish. Who do you have to thank tonight?
Yeah, I definitely want to thank Shane. He was there. We would finish 1 through 4 probably. He kind of went down at the very last corner there to just block a run from another team so that we kind of shored up the top 3 for sure. So I want to thank him for his sacrifice there and ensuring us a top 3. And then everybody else at BMP, we worked so well together. I know they did a ton of draft practice this week at Atlanta. I was out of town, but luckily drafting is one of my favorite things to do, and I do a lot of it. So, but their practice paid off. I mean, it showed there. We were pretty dominant most of the race. So, I mean, there was at least 4 or 5 of us up in the top 6, 7 the entire race. So, just hats off to those guys. I want to thank my family that watches, my dad, my brother. I got friends that watch. Bryce, Garrett. I've got, my wife for sure, my biggest support system. So I want to shout out to her. Thank you, Lindsay, for letting me do this. And then you guys for putting on a great broadcast. Tim Wortman for always being a fun guy to race with out there. Appreciate you. And, Barry Sanders for putting on a great league. I mean, we had 40 some racers at the beginning of the season, and we kept a very high racer count the entire time. We kind of stopped letting randos come in for the end of the season because we didn't want anything to kind of mess up the playoffs. So if you didn't run a certain amount of races, then you weren't going to be racing in the playoffs. So I think that's a really good system to just ensure that we have a good, fair playoff run for everybody. And hopefully, again, we love putting on a good show, and it just makes for a good time for you guys to watch. All the fans out there that watch, everybody. I see so many comments during these broadcasts, so I appreciate that, and we appreciate you guys watching. So, and again, Kenny Coppola's setups best in the game by far. Greatly appreciate it.
Well, there you have it. Third place finisher tonight, Brandon Bikey, and I think we're gonna maybe get to talk to our winner, Jordan Schmeets. Jordan, this Eddie and Tim in the booth. You got a copy this time?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, I didn't know I was supposed to come up.
You bailed
Not
on
used
us.
to the
You
winning
bailed on
thing.
us a minute ago. It got my feelings hurt. I'm all tore up about it. But hey, you are the winner of a Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine tonight. How about that? Congratulations, first off, on the win here in Atlanta. You got a nice push from your teammate. You were aggressive all night, and it played all out in your favor, and you got the win, and you're locked into the round of 12, man. Congratulations, first off. Let's take it back. Early in the race, you're working with your teammates. You're trying to figure out how you guys are going to kind of decide what was the plan tonight for you and your teammates. What was the plan for you? What was your kind of goals early in this one?
Yeah, we did a lot of practice together and just getting to see how the sets worked out, and came out and it felt like a completely different racetrack. So I switched it up at the end, but we Daytona, we kind of got away from what we do, stick together as a team, and everybody was racing selfishly. So I just was focusing on clumping up with my team, not just totally staying on their butt, but trying to work with them as much as I could. After those first stage, I realized how tight I was getting and didn't get any better. So I gave it a little half pound on the right rear. Didn't think it was going to make a huge difference, but the balance went from 5% tight to perfect after that. So then we just knew we were going to stick on the top, take care of our tires, and then take the runs down to the bottom or the top wherever we needed to after about 20 laps. And we all worked together and did a great job.
Yeah, it seemed like you were one of the better pushers tonight. I mean, there's a lot of really good drivers in this field, but it seemed like whenever somebody was off the bumper of Jordan Schmeets, they were moving forward. What's the art here at Atlanta, different than Daytona, Talladega, of giving somebody a good shove, a safe, one that's not going to cause a wreck, but able to kind of push a line forward like you were doing?
So really, you can't just obviously you can't push to the corners, but you also can't ship them off into the entry corner and get disconnected because then you get the side draft and also kind of run into defensive line where nobody the outside line cannot get to the car in front of you. So I don't know if you noticed, but I was running about half a car higher up on the lane and then cut down off the side draft to the bottom and clean air, and you can get a huge run up to the bumper on corner exit. And that was just working for me, and I guess I couldn't figure out a way to stop it.
Yeah, well, and you were able to stay up front and keep that car near the front part of the field. And there at the end, you were hooked up with your teammates. The field kind of thinned out there towards the end. You had to feel pretty confident with how many numbers you had up there. Um, everything kind of worked out in your favor. You're able to kind of cycle out Warren Young from the lead, and you guys down there on the bottom really kind of stuck it out there as you were just kept falling back and falling back there on the bottom, you and Kenny. At what point, do you decide, hey, maybe this is maybe not the best thing to do as you're kind of falling back? Were you nervous at all, or were you feel pretty confident, even though you were kind of falling back a little bit?
No, I think we had a game plan and we had the numbers that we wanted. We just needed to get one more number in there. And once Jeff Carson, who's been out all year with a neck injury, he got in there. That's when the game changed. Once we got a fourth car pushing, the fourth and third car, really some of the most important cars in the draft. So I stuck to the game plan of the team, and it felt like they were all on board with it too. So got a little nervous there at the end. I figured a big run was coming, and then some people started playing silly games, try to shoot it up on the outside, suck back, get runs. And when I saw a little bit of chaos, I felt pretty good when Kenny was behind me, that he was going to stick with me and get me to the end just to get all of us a good finish. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy that I'm thankful my teammates stuck it out with me, and I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, you locked into the round of 12. Now Watkins Glen, you can go out there and just have a whale of a time. And then at Bristol, you can go out there and do the same. Just run the top side the whole time. I don't even care about the tire wear. Just get up there and rip the wall. You're locked into round 12. Just go have fun, and that's what you get to do. So congratulations on the win. That was awesome. Great showing by BMP, first round of the playoffs. And you're the first winner of the playoffs. Congratulations. Who you have to thank?
I got to thank BMP, all the guys, all the work we put in practicing. Kenny built a great setup tonight. It was awesome. And just all you guys are putting on a great broadcast, and all my teammates.
All right. There you have it. Your winner here
Oh,
tonight. Go ahead.
and so that purple stuff is Moonshine, you said?
Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine.
All right. So I'm 2.5 years sober, so I'm going to get with some of my teammates and figure out who wants that. As tempting as it sounds, we're not going to bust that up.
Hell yeah. Well, I like to hear that. And yeah, we'll definitely give that bottle go to someone else. But congratulations again to Jordan Schmeets taking the victory. And man, that's going to do it for us tonight. Damn. What a great race that was. I mean, obviously disappointment for you, but you've shown you had the speed to win. You're coming up on Watkins Glen. How you feeling about Watkins Glen next week?
I'm really good at road courses, but Watkins Glen seems to be one of the road courses that guys that aren't necessarily good at an average road course, they all seem to step it up there. So gonna have to run some laps here this weekend and get reacquainted with the place and put some practice in, because I think they're gonna come pretty hard for Watkins Glen next week.
100%. Well, thanks to Crazy Chuck, Purple Jesus Moonshine, for the sponsorship of this race. We got to also thank OB Builders for their sponsorship of the Cup Series, and all the other great partners and folks who helped get this thing around the track. Barry Sanders and all the admin team who put in a lot of work You know, I should probably get all the names of the admin team, but they do a fantastic job. A lot of work goes into having 30 cars in a playoff field and have it be competitive as it is. So as we move on to next week, Watkins Glen, and we'll be road course racing, and boy, that'll be fun. You got to come see that. Some people say, oh, I won't go to the road course. Please come and watch. It is so much fun to broadcast road courses in those stock cars, and it'll be a great show for sure. But Atlanta, we're done here. We're moving. We're about to take the flight out, and we're going to call it quits here tonight. Want to thank Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper for V-Speed for all the work they do behind the scenes, and thank y'all so much for watching. We'll hope y'all have a wonderful night, and we will see y'all next week. Y'all be good.